Hey everybody, we got a real treat for you today. One of the members over at the Moonshine for Beginners group at MeWe.com has submitted a video. He goes by Stillin Old School, and he is a traditional moonshiner, uses the old pot still, uses the old copper pot still. He's going to be talking about some of that old school technology and why the cap is shaped like it is, how the size and the shape and the relationship on the Thumper arm, how it all affects your final product. I think you're going to find this really interesting, so check it out.
Hey everybody, I'm Stillin Old School. Welcome to the Still Shed. Today I want to go over some stuff about an old school copper pot old school copper pot still, the cap, why they're made that way, what they do when they're made different ways, this arm, the diameter, the pitch of it, up or down, and a little bit about our Thumper. We're not going to go into a lot of detail today about the Thumper. I'm going to give you a lot of information on this stuff to absorb. So with that being said, let's get right to it. Okay. The copper pot itself is nothing fancy. You do the math and you figure out, I want a 10 gallon, I want a 20, I want a 30, whatever you want. To here, this is about 29.5 gallon. To about right there, I get about 24 gallon in it. Might be a little less than 29.5. You got a drain valve down here on the bottom, which you have to have for a big Thumper. As far as the cape, shape, and angle, it kind of depends a lot on your cap size. For mine, this was the extra piece of copper that I had when I made the steel. I kind of drew it all out, and this is what I had left to make the cape, so that's what dictated my size on it. Okay, now to get down to the bones of things. Your cap and your still. A pot still is made for flavor. You're not going to get high proof out of a pot still. Everyone knows, and for all the beginners out there, a pot still is primarily for flavor. It'll bring the flavor of about anything you have over into the final product. Okay, my cap is designed, it's small diameter, and it's short, and this arm sits very close to the top. There's a lot of reasons for that. With this small diameter, small height, all the vapors that's produced off of my mash pretty much come straight up into the cap, straight into this pipe, and down over into my Thumper. Now, why is that important? Okay, since I've shown you what a direct path looks like and how I get the most flavor from my mash. As soon as the vapors are made, they're on their way to the Thumper. Now, I've spent a lot of time making this next cap to give you a good visual demonstration. Now let's say that was my cap. It's an old 3-gallon Vever still, okay? This arm's 1.5 inches, it's a Mountain Dew box. Okay, if my mash is boiling off in here and it came up into this cap, there's so much more surface area since it's a larger diameter and it's taller. There's a lot more surface area of would-be copper in this cap to act as a reflux chamber. If this arm is more down towards the center of this cap, that's going to act like even more of a reflux chamber. Because instead of the vapors going straight up and over to your Thumper, they have time to come up in here, hang around, swirl around, and even more time up in here to hang around, swirl around, and get stronger proof before it leaves the system to go to the Thumper. So in a nutshell, a small diameter, short cap will give you as much flavor as possible. A larger diameter, taller cap with this arm positioned down lower will act like a reflux chamber. It'll take your vapors, it'll reflux them around in here, make them stronger. On the downside, it's going to leave some of the flavor behind in here before it makes its way to the Thumper. Okay. Now we'll put a regular cap back in here. Okay. That's pretty easy to understand. This stuff is old school science. It's not rocket science. It's pretty self-explanatory. it's just no one kind of knows how to explain things when it comes to an old school still, and I kind of want to straighten some of that stuff up. The reason reflux is important, as we all know, that controls your proof to a point. A stronger mash, a higher gravity mash, will give you more proof in your pot. Now with the pot still, a low gravity mash is your best friend. Because of these reasons, you're trying to carry flavor over. The lower the gravity, the more flavor. The smaller the cap, the easier the path to the thumper, the more flavor your vapors get to keep. Okay, simple enough, right? Well, almost. This arm, the diameter of this arm, and the position of this arm means a lot to your proof and how your thumper runs. Okay, this arm, I set this up hastily. This arm should be, when it's all set and right, it should be level. When the cap's all seated into place, that arm will be perfectly level, just like that. What that does, it allows the vapors to shoot straight over here and down into the thumper. Now, if I had this arm tipped up like that, let's say, this arm is going to act like a reflux chamber. It's going to condense your vapors back down, and they're going to run back down the arm and come back into your pot, reflux and get stronger. If that arm is tipped down a little bit, this arm is going to act like a condenser. And what's going to happen is the vapors coming through there are going to condense into a liquid way too soon. That's going to do what we call drown or quench your thumper. It's going to add too much liquid too quickly into your thumper and prevent your thumper from functioning. Some issues that'll cause this also is if you have a milk can still or a keg still and you have a tall column on it to increase your proof. And then off this column you come down with a long piece of pipe into a thumper at floor level. Well, what's happening is you're refluxing here and you're coming up, and as soon as your vapor comes over and starts coming down, it condenses and it fills that thumper up with liquid. When that happens, it can't stay hot enough to keep running. Okay, that being said, the diameter of this arm is important. It allows, with the cap set up like this, it allows a large volume of vapor to come straight over and keep its heat, because this isn't very much copper to heat. From over here down is just a little over 3 feet of copper. Now that large diameter copper pipe allows a large volume of hot vapor to come through, over, and down into your thump stand, down into your thump arm. That allows the liquid that's in your thumper. We only keep a little bit in the thumper. The reason for this, so that vapor can heat it up easily. Your thumper is a secondary distillation. We need that distillation to occur at the right temperature and at the right speed. How we do that in the thumper is directly related to your cap, and your arm, and your angle of your arm and your cap. So, I kind of hope this clears up some things about the caps and the arms and why the arms are always so big and the caps are always so crazy size and look like footballs and everything else. It's old school science, guys. The bigger, the taller the cap, the more reflux action. If you put that arm straight up in the air, it's a reflux chamber. It's a reflux column. It's going to reflux. If you put it down, it's a condenser. It's a lay big arm. It's going to make too much liquid for your thumper to handle. So, if you like the information that's provided here, give us a thumbs up, drop a comment in the barrel down below, and mash in on that subscribe button. Until next time, keep it old school, guys.